Josh just got put on the table. And I see Josh and Jim.
I have to agree
You're
with Clyde.
both nodding. Ramon's sort of half nodding because his wife's listening. But
I understood what was going to happen if Muhammad Ali's youngest daughter, made public that I was going to become a boxer. So I wanted to make sure this was the path that I wanted to go down.
you are absolutely fabulous, beautiful inside and out. And I'm giving you Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award today.
Thank you.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone.
Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But
the answer.
I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. But I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so I
Okay,
can come
okay,
over.
come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome, you're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Streaker, Spreaker, almost got it down, returning from down under. This is a show about hope and happiness. Why? Because I want to balance out all of the bad news you so readily get first thing as soon as you turn something on, including yourself. No, not including yourself. But we are here, 614 consecutive weeks now, 1,090 something podcast shows, and I'm so glad that they were wrong, that those that said that it would not last past a year. So we're almost to 12 years now, and I'm very, very excited to tell you that all those shows are on my YouTube free subscribe channel, and you can also get interviews with Halle Berry and John Travolta and The Temptations, as well as my short film PPP, post-pandemic possibilities. So a lot of free stuff there, and a lot of past guests that you saw in the promo there. You can also rewatch their episodes. But today, you are not going to get anything old. You're getting something new. My newest co-host of my very popular series called Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
James Hawthorne. So great to be here with the Iron Woman of radio. You got me thinking about, I grew up a baseball fan. Cal Ripken played 2,632 consecutive games. Let's get you to that streak. That's what they're going to throw a big party for you. That's what I say.
that. I would like that. I am accepting that intention for sure. And y'all know that we like to start the show with breakfast. And breakfast with Dr. Marissa and my co-host consists of taking a bite of taking a bite of
That's the
my
evening show.
gratitude sandwich, which consists of the top of the bun, which is gratitude. What are things outside of yourself that you're grateful for? And the bottom of the bun, because I like it on the bottom. 8 appreciations. What do you like about yourself? Literally, because I think that is the foundation of good mental health. If you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect anybody else to approve of you? So that's what we're going to do right now. Why don't you kick it off, James? What are you grateful for?
Based on the beautiful movie I saw last night, I'm grateful for courageous artists, because it's one thing just to make art and put it out there, but when you really dig deep into like the trauma of your soul, your loneliness, whatever, and you channel that into beautiful art, it takes a lot of courage to mine that stuff and to put it out there. And even if you're telling this story and having other actors do it, it's, yes, it can be cathartic, but it takes a lot of courage. And I just saw the oh boy, of course I forget it now. We Are All Strangers is what it was called, and just equally beautiful and heartbreaking, and just made me really go deep and reflect on a lot of important things. And courageous art can do that, and I'm so grateful for the people that are out there willing to make that kind of art.
I second that. I will have to go. Is it in theaters?
Yes, yes.
We Are All Strangers?
Yeah, something, or yeah, All of Us Strangers,
Something
I
like,
think is what it's called. It's a
okay.
beautiful film, top to bottom. Heartbreaking, beautiful. Such a simple concept, but they come at it from every angle, like peeling away an onion, and it's just an in-depth exploration to how we deal with loneliness, past trauma, and the healing power of love. It's amazing.
Oh, wow. I cannot wait to see that. That's like right up my life alley for sure. The only, when you said stranger, it's funny, the promo for today's show, because it's about, why is it that people you are attracted to aren't attracted to you? So I used the theme from Stranger Things.
Oh, great. I love that.
And then you said stranger, and all I can think of is stranger in the night. Stranger by day. No, stranger by day, but stranger in the night.
Different song, same idea.
Somebody saying that to me once. I can't get over that. It's
Meanwhile,
funny.
the listeners are going, when did this turn into a badly produced musical,
Yeah, I know. What can I say? I am grateful that I can see the sun coming out. The sun will come out. Can you tell, like, I'm totally...
You're in the mood today. My favorite version of that song came from the movie Dave with Kevin Kline and Sigourney Weaver, when they get pulled over by the police saying, "Oh, no, she's not the first lady. We're impersonators." I love that movie. If you're having a bad day, you got to go watch the movie Dave.
Dave? Okay, 2 movie suggestions today. Man,
yes.
I'm going to have you on Monday movie reviews.
One will break your heart, but it's beautiful. The other one will lift you up no matter how heartbroken you may be. So we've got the balance, peace in, peace out.
Personality movie going. What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for thoughtful friends. I had a few friends be very thoughtful yesterday. Made me feel really loved, really special. I'll save the details unless you ask, but there is a good story there. So if our topic doesn't take off like a steam-rolling engine, maybe I'll come back to that. But man, treat your friends right, because you never know when it's going to come back and bless your life. And I was so touched to have 3 friends really warm my heart with their thoughtfulness the other day.
That's so nice. I'm grateful that I have been today 15 years sober.
I love that. That's so cool.
Thank you. Yes, that is probably why I'm so happy today. Like, I'm happy normally, but today I'm especially happy.
I'll tell you, the older I get, the less good a night of indulging in substances makes you feel. It's a moment of pleasure for a world of pain, and then the next day, oh man, I don't recover like I used to when I was a college kid. I'll tell you that. It ain't worth it. As I said last week, that juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Yeah. I gotta remember that. Because I've gained so many days back, right? So, one more gratitude.
I am grateful for the cleansing rain. Before this last rain, we had 2 days of rain, and I went on this beautiful run and hike, and we went up to the top of Runyon in the middle of our run with another beautiful soul. It was really nice to get to know this friend of mine, new friend, and it was really great to like, we were having a heart-to-heart amidst our run and hike, and LA never looked so clean and clear. Could see Catalina Island from the top of Runyon Canyon, and I just love the way the rain just cleans everything out and makes our city look so clear. If only we could like do that as readily and easily for ourselves, like come up with our own internal rain to just clear all the crap off the plate and be able to create a fresh start each and every day. We can, if only it was easy. If only it was easy, though, is the rain, is the way the rain falls from the sky.
Well, the gratitude sandwich discipline, I think, really resets you from going wherever the rabbit hole was going to go, you know, as far as complaining or anything like that. 21-day fast from complaining also helps with that. I am grateful. Oh, I knew I was going to forget it. I am grateful for, I had it, it was really good, and I'm going to have to come back to that. So let's go down to appreciation, and then I'm sure I'll remember it. I appreciate that I will recover, that I do recover, that no matter what happens, I do get back up. I like that. So,
I love that. I love that you make me do this exercise every week, because initially I didn't like it. It was like pulling teeth. And so that said to me, I'm the problem. I got to figure out why this is so darn hard. And, you know, I think it just comes back to the fact that our internal noise, if we don't watch what's going on up here, you know, it can kind of get out of control. And we're so used to picking ourselves apart, and in a very insidious way. It's not like, you awful, worthless. It's you. For most people, it's not that. It's usually like, well, now you could have done that better. You know, you could have been a little, you could have done this, you could have done that. And it just picks and eats away at you. And so because that's the norm, being forced to do the exact opposite felt like pulling teeth. And now it's getting easier. So I thank you for, as your co-host, making me participate in this, because now it's not a make, it's a, ooh, I'm so glad I get to do this exercise today.
yeah.
So I'm grateful for you making me do this thing.
Aw, that makes my day. I force my children
Oh, not
to do
grateful. I like that. I guess that's still a gratitude. I like that I am now able to do this easier than I did in the first couple shows. There, I'll just reframe that.
That and this is I'm grateful that I did this discipline with my children as they were growing up in the car on the way to school. And we started with gratitudes. And then when they were old enough, I did the appreciation. And I'll never forget, you know, I also am part of a carpool system when they were young, and you know, they were mortified because their friends that came on the ride would also have to do this exercise. And they were good with gratitude, but it, like you said, it was like pulling teeth to get them to talk about themselves in a positive way. Like, what do you appreciate about yourself? Like, what are you talking about? Right? So I appreciate that I taught my kids and brought them up that way with that as a theme. And
I like that you were bold enough to make the other kids do that. Granted, the kids may have never come over to your house for play dates after school based on what you made them do in the carpool on the way there. But the nice thing about that is, hey, you get the afternoon off. I'm kidding.
Yeah, it was. And I'm glad to tell you that I was the house that the kids would come over. And I still have, you know, they called me Dr. Mom. And they will still tell my kids, and they'll say, oh, so and so says hi, and they will never forget when you blah, 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 blah. So God, I love my life. I appreciate that I am reconnecting with my sensual side. Don't get too excited. I have started dating again, actually, at least talking to people, right? Or chatting with people and then graduating to talking. And it's so weird. The feeling of flirting is so, it's been 7 years since I've participated in it and actually felt some like tingling, and it's so weird, but I appreciate my willingness to do this again.
That dovetails very nicely with mine. A commitment to the journey, right? As you talked about, graduating to dating. I was working with a new personal training client the other night, a prospective client. And, you know, I've been doing this for 15 years. And sometimes I get bored with it, frankly, because it's, you know, it's a great profession. I love being able to help people. But, you know, when you're doing it session after session after session, you get a little boring. So I always like to kind of challenge myself. Well, okay, you know, what can I like learn that I haven't been able to provide my clients, that I haven't, like, how do I keep refining this, changing this? How do I let me do this session in a whole different style and see how the client responds? So just this idea of like constant growth, change, trying new things, and that it's never about like, okay, I'm a good trainer. That's it. I've arrived. It's now like, well, okay, what else? What else can I mess with and try? Like, I always like going back to the lab, so to speak. So I like that I'm committed to the journey. Because it also frees you from beating yourself up if you don't feel like you're as far along towards your goal as maybe you want to be. When you really commit to the journey, you might not get to where you thought you wanted to go, but you usually get somewhere pretty freaking cool.
And I love what Esther and Jerry Abraham says through Esther and Jerry Hicks, which is, you're never going to get it done and you're never going to get it wrong. I love that, because no matter what it is, we're just learning, always growing, always expanding. And we just have to stop that critical chatter so that we can actually enjoy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, that's why I love my life. It's just every step of the way, I can be not shocked and awed, but delighted and satisfied by the journey itself. And I appreciate that I, this time, am reframing everything about what I'm doing in the dating scene instead of my former approach of, well, I don't like this about him, I don't like that, and swipe, I don't like that. And then it's really this, well, that's interesting. And what is interesting about the person, and what, you know, watching myself ask different questions or, you know, unfold. I do have something I need advice on, though, because I do, let's finish the gratitude. This is going into topic, but
well,
okay. So
that's great. That'll be a great segue. Hold on to
yeah.
that. Put that on the coat hanger, and
yes,
you know,
don't
leave the restaurant without grabbing your coat. All right, I'm all
Last
for it. That'll be good.
appreciation from you.
I like my fearlessness, and there's a short little story here because it's just a funny one, and this dovetails with my gratitude for a thoughtful friend. Literally, I guess 2 days ago, I'm about to run into a personal training session. It's 5 minutes before. My friend calls me. He doesn't usually call me out of the blue. I wasn't going to answer, but I said, well, this is unusual, so I'm curious. I picked up the phone. He's like, hey, do you want to play a dad in a film tonight? I'm like, maybe. What does it pay? What's the job? So the producer calls me in the middle of the session. I can't take the call because I'm with my client. I call her back, and she gives me all the details, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'm in. She's like, when can you be here? I'm like, well, I'm in Santa Monica. It's shooting in North Hollywood, maybe an hour, hour and a half. I got a shower. I stink. I've been training people all day. So I get there. I get to set. I'm in the makeup chair. I meet the director, and I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. Is this a drama? Is this a comedy? What genre is this film? Like, that's how little I know. I know nothing. And they're putting my makeup on, making me look like an older man. I wish I had the picture for you. You could put it up. It was a great makeup job because I'm playing a dad. And I'm like reading the script for the first time while they're putting me in makeup, like learning and they're like, close your eyes. We need you to close. Like, well, how am I going to learn the lines? But I wasn't afraid. I was just like, okay, let's get on this bucking Bronco and have a good time. And it went great. It was great. So I like that. I like my fearlessness and my adaptability to say yes, jump in, and just trust that somehow me, the team that's involved in the film, we're going to make it work. You know, so it's just this idea of you don't always have to be the most prepared. You just have to be willing to go on a wild ride sometimes. And so I like that about myself because it made for a great story and really cool experience. And now I'm involved in this film, which was completely unexpected. Normally you audition a million times, hear nothing. I was just sitting on my butt and was said, here, the role's yours. You want to do it? And that was great.
That's phenomenal. And this is I'll make it part of the Blisscipline, but just to remind you, James, that all these wonderful things, like the friends you have, the wonderful, care that you're getting, and these opportunities are my BS. My belief system is because your work is always trying to look and how you can be the best you can be, and how you can, stay on that high vibrating disc, as the law of attraction will say. And because of that, you're like Thor with good things. You put your hand out and it just comes to you. You don't even have to put your hand out. But that is the law of attraction and the power of positive thought and positive belief. That's what happens. I am 100,000% convinced that I believe we create our destiny or our life. We create what happens by what we think, believe, act on, not talk about, and everything you've just said is proof that I'm right. No, proof that it works. So I want you. I said that because I want you to own that. Give yourself some of the credit. It was not by accident that all these things are happening. It is not by accident that I get like perfect parking spots with money left in the meter, like almost all the time. I do that because I have a Blisscipline every single day. What is the best feeling thought I could have? And when shift happens, I say, I can't wait to see what good comes out of this. And I've been doing this now consistently for about 8 years. And so now it's really happening. Things are like, and it's because of that. And I just went through one more adjustment to come from love. And I had been forgiving people on the big scale, like people who really tried to F me up. I've done that. But I noticed, and my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, also has noticed and said, when you can love, even those minor violators, right? Somebody that pisses you off or somebody that insults you like 5 years ago. And when you see them, you remember that. So you don't want to get too close. Those are the ones that were still kind of blocking me from receiving even more good. So that just happened like 5 days ago. And I just feel so much different just from that. Like I am like, oh, come from love, come from love, come from love. No matter what it is, come from love. It's not, and it challenges that whole thing. I've got to put my boundaries up. I've got to, protect myself. And it's like, no, I am love energy. I came from love energy. I'm going back into love energy when I die. That's who I really am.
Even if this person's not somebody you want to have in your life closely because they're somewhat toxic, it's always nice to look at like, what can I learn from this individual? And you can always love people from a distance, right? You can be there, you can be loving, you can be somebody that they would speak highly of while still protecting yourself from, being unnecessarily hurt. You can still have people in your orbit and learn from them and be grateful that they're there to teach you that lesson, and always be kind in response, even if they, have little stingers out, all the time. I think that's a great gift that we can give ourselves. It's not black and white. We can love people from a distance.
Absolutely. Welcome, Maria. I don't know if you've met James before. Have you met Maria? He's my new co-host for Straight Talk. So I wanted to just introduce the two of you. Maria's been on the show before as a guest. She's she has her own show. She just hit like 10,000 subscribers or something wonderful like that. And
congrats, Maria.
Her. And we just finished a very long breakfast, taking a bite of our gratitude sandwich, but it was a good one. We digressed in a good way. Thanks for joining us. If you want to join Maria in the Cashew Gallery chat, all you have to do is stop driving if you're listening on my AM, FM NBC News Radio channel KCAA, AM 1050 FM 106.5. You can actually go to my YouTube TV channel where I stream live, as well as Facebook and LinkedIn, and you can actually chat questions or compliment James or ask him out. You name it, you can do everything from that.
I am open for business.
Gallery. And the topic today, finally, we're going to get to this. We actually bookmarked it from last week. Last week we were talking about
the chase. We were talking about why we sometimes run away from people that are chasing us, and why others of us love to be chased. And what's our posture towards, do we like to chase or do we like to be hit upon? And all the different nuances of that, which dovetailed into with this topic of the missed connection.
Yes, misattraction is what I call it. And we were actually in agreement after doing our postpartum of the show, and it just was such an interesting thing. And I said, I didn't bring it up, and it's like, well, wait, it's our show. We can do this next week. And it's really uncanny, because a lot of women that I have talked to also experience this. And what it is, isn't it interesting that the ones that you are attracted to, like if you reach out or if you swipe right or whatever it is, and you are attracted to them, don't seem to be attracted to you back. And the ones that you really are not attracted to are like on you, like dog on a bone. And, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful, you're, all the things that you want to hear, but not from them. So I just thought that was such an interesting, not uncommon phenomena. So I thought we would have some fun, straight talk on that. So what do you think that happens?
I think it's great, because I don't have any sense of a clue with conviction, but I got a lot of ideas, and I think it'd be fun to throw that out there too, as you call it, the cashew gallery. I hope we have an active one today, because I would love to learn from our audience. I like to go into some of these topics with the idea of a documentary filmmaker, and that you're not going there to tell a story. You're going there to do an exploration and see what you learn about a topic that really interests you. One thing that popped into my mind was, I had this friend, really negative individual. We're not close friends anymore. He
love from afar.
He used to say, "Oh, I'm maybe a 6.5 or a 7 at best on a 1 to 10. No way." And you got to date within your range. Like, it never works if you're like trying to date outside of your attraction range. And I used to say, like, phony baloney. Like, you go out, you see people all the time, that seem mismatched in that. I wouldn't say it's the norm, but I see enough of it to know that my friend was phony baloney on that. I will say sometimes you see more attractive women with less attractive guys, but to me, sometimes that just speaks to the fact that women and men, maybe don't value the same things equally, perhaps. I mean, as a gay man, I can't speak too much on that. But you see it in gay relationships too. Sometimes, men that are, I think, more mature maybe admire other things in their partner and a lot of times you hear the story and they started as friends. I'm not advocating substance use or abuse, but maybe after a wild night, they ended up getting together physically, and they said, you know what? That was really, I wasn't expecting that. And then the next thing you know, they're in a relationship. So, it's funny how that works. I think there's some truth to that. And I think sometimes if you shoot your shot outside of your attraction range, more often than not, you might not get back what you want if you're going above. But I certainly don't think we should limit ourselves because of that.
Shoot your shot outside of the attraction circle. You heard it here, folks. That's from my co-host, James Hawthorne. You are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with the Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah, NBC News Radio. And this is our very special Thursday series called Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
James Hawthorne.
And we're talking about shooting beyond outside of your circle. We're talking about attraction and how and why that seems to be one of those common experiences when you're dating. I'll take a stab at it to, oh, and speaking of, I actually, not Michael, but my bio, well, I shouldn't have identified. But anyways, I had someone tell me that I was unsuccessful in dating because um, uh, I was overestimating my attractiveness, and
Ooh.
I was aiming too high, and that I should lower myself so that I would be more probable in getting a date, which was very mean. And I
Very
had,
mean way for that to be phrased to you. I mean,
yeah,
I'm stung hearing that, you know?
yeah. Well, and because I do believe that the law of attraction, I did not think much of myself in those days. And so until I could work with myself and think better of myself, I would attract people who would say mean things like that.
Mm.
So that's my doing. And so yeah.
You
So
know,
now, yeah.
similarly, I've had an experience where um, a girlfriend of a friend said to me, James, you should lower your standards a bit. Like, your standards are so high. And I thought, okay, but I can't force myself to be attracted to somebody. And I've been attracted to people that visually, right, might not be, someone might look at us to go, that's a mismatch or whatever. But there's all kinds of different things that make me attracted to somebody. And I find them sexy because of the things that I like about personalities and things. But anyway, I said, no, I'm not going to lower my standards because, yes, I'm lonely. Yes, I would love to have a partner. But being a good partner in a relationship, you can't do that unless you're like head over heels for that person, in my mind. And I will totally rearrange my life, my priority system for the right partner. But until I find that person, let me stay out on that battlefield. I'd rather be cold and alone, but doing my life. You know, I mean, when I bring somebody in, I'm going to give a lot of myself because that's the kind of person I am. With my friends, I'm very caring, maternal. I give. But if I'm going to go into a relationship and also open up my heart and be in that vulnerable space, oh, it's got to be for someone that I'm head over heels for. So that's another friend. I had to be like, nope, I'm going to shoot my shot, even if I am going after the unattainable. And that's something I want to come back to, by the way. This idea of why do we sometimes pursue the unattainable? It's that thing that people say, I'm not even married, but if I wear a wedding ring and go out, I get hit on left and right. Right? I'm sure you've heard that cliche before.
I have heard that, and it is kind of strange, right?
Like, we're sick. Like, what is wrong with us? Why do we do
Right,
this? We're
right.
sickos.
Why do you want something that you cannot have? Or what is the allure of something that is dangerous, off limits? I have a similar women who say to me, right? They go in a room filled with guys and they look for the guy that has a t-shirt on saying, I am a dirtbag, or I am, I am an asshole. So why is it that I am attracted to someone who isn't good for me, or someone who is like the worst possible match for me?
Well, the dirtbag T-shirt, I think, is adjacent to going after what's unattainable. I would say that is, I like, look, I'm no expert, but I was a psych major and I loved studying this stuff. I think that's more a function of like repeating patterns. If you're used to being hurt, your subconscious, is going to keep filling that pattern over and over unless you do a major conscious override through
Yeah.
like talk therapy, whatever it takes to get you there, or really good friends that counsel you. And sometimes we seek the familiarity of even things that are toxic and bad for us. And when I was learning about domestic violence and abuse, when I was running the film festival that I did, it's this idea that, as dangerous as it is, what you don't know is scarier to your subconscious. So
Sure.
even if you're getting beaten by your partner, you come back to it because you know what's going to happen. And some people, their subconscious is such a scared little child, right? And everyone's subconscious is a little child, but they don't want to go out there and risk and go through the discomfort of having to learn a new way to be, because you have to be somebody different when you're no longer being a victim. As for the unattainable piece, going after things that are unattainable, I think that goes back to last week's topic of the chase, right? I think some of us are like, I think of like the African safari, and we're lions, we're leopards. We want to go after the prey, and we want to have that sense of conquest. And I think that sometimes that's maybe our personality. I think other times it's filling a void maybe in our ego, and we feel an ego boost when we're able to get that big juicy gazelle as opposed to some field rodent. Not calling people that are out there in the dating pool field rodents, but I was running with that metaphor, so there we are. So my theory is, if you're the chaser going out shooting outside of your attraction range, could it be ego driven? I don't know.
Oh, I think it's one of those any and all of the above. There's no like right or wrong answer in this, and we're just having some fun with putting the moose on the table, or my version of the Canadian version of the elephant in the room. And we do have a comment from Maria. Before I do, I'm going to say this because I'll forget. If I don't say it now, and it sort of is tangential to your, why do we are attracted or allow ourselves to be in relationships that aren't good for us. I'm one of the 7 out of 10 of us who had childhood trauma. And as a result of that, like you said, I am comfortable and familiar with people calling me fat, ugly, and clumsy. So it's no surprise that I attracted a man or went after a man who would introduce me as obese to his friends behind my back, because I attracted someone who treated me the way that I thought that in the stupidest way possible, but very real, that I deserved to be treated. And like you said, it wasn't until I did a lot of work on myself to get to that point. And that's what led to the divorce was, wait a minute, right? I am worthy. I'm not perfect, but I am worthy. And this is not okay. But it takes some time. And so, attracting or trying to be with people that you know are not good for you, that's a sign for you to look at your own worthability. Am I worthy factor? All right, Maria, I never engaged with men I knew were out of my league. I just assumed I wasn't good enough. That's what toxic people make you think. So I kept my standards low. That didn't go well. Yeah. So that is a culmination. That is a combination of all of this and some of the factors that James and I have been talking about. So first, I would say everyone is good enough, and no one is out of league. There is no such thing as that. We are all unique, one of a kind, wonderful individuals. And I believe there's more than one right person for us. I believe in 8 billion people now. Yay, 8. My favorite number. 8 billion people. How can you say there's only one soulmate, one twin flame, one? That's like, wow, that's like really cutting yourself short. I believe there's a plethora of people that could be, you could have a wonderful, fulfilling relationship with. But you don't, unless you're polyamorous, you don't want necessarily to do them all at one time. But there's many chapters in our book of romance. That's my soapbox. James.
To Maria's comment, it reminded me of when I was talking about, you go out to a restaurant, you see a couple that seem mismatched. And, what Maria said, it reminded me of this. Well, it made me think that, okay, maybe the person who is the less attractive one in that relationship, maybe what you're looking at when you see that and you're judging them, from the table across the room, you're seeing a very courageous person who said, fork it. I'm going to shoot my shot. I'm going to do it because you only live once. This is not a drill. There's no do-overs. This isn't a warm-up. This is your life. So lay it all on the line, put the moose on the table, as you say, and give it a go. Man, people that just could care less with rejection, because they probably don't frame it as rejection. They say, I'm going to go out there and go after what I want. And if the other people don't like it, that's on them, not me. Imagine if we could like frame everything that way. Imagine what bold chances. Like we'd all be shooting for the moon. Like,
That's right. That's right.
I think
Sky's the limit.
yeah, so it made me think that when you look at that, you're like, we like to go, oh, well, he must be very funny, or he must have a lot of money, or, you know, must have a really big, I'll let you fill in the blank.
Shoot.
But, but maybe it's just simply that you're looking at someone who's really courageous, you know, and had the chutzpah to put it out there and say, I like you. And then when they met and went on that date, they were funny, they were charming, and the person said, wow, I was really surprised. Who knows? I like to still believe in the fairy tale, I guess is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to just flip that over on the other side. And we don't know if that woman or the one who is supposedly the higher, more beautiful, more attractive one, if they're not the fortunate one, because we don't see what is in that. And I know she's been on my show, I'm not going to say who it is, but she's very successful, very smart, very creative. And you know, when I first saw her husband, I was like, you know, and it turns out that it's all her success, almost all of her success is because of his ability, and he's brilliant in the way that he packages her and presents her, and you know, he's the powerhouse in the relationship. But you know, that's our BS belief systems when we see that, because we judge people, which I want to segue to, because I really do want your opinion on this, because I am swiping, right? And I'm swiping based on looks. I'm not swiping, I don't look at the profile first. I swipe. If I see someone that I think is attractive, then I read, right? And whether that's right or wrong, that's just the way swiping works, right? Now, I'm not saying that there's like a formula for attractive. That part I believe, like someone that I find attractive, Maria may not find attractive, or you may not find attractive, right? On the guy basis. So I, you know, I'm not going to judge myself for doing that. The question though becomes, the skin deep part of attraction, is that a problem or not, right? Are you swiping away potential of someone who is much better for you than someone who is attractive, right? Then not. And my thing is, someone said to me, oh, this is what my grandfather said to me. It's just as difficult to find someone who is attractive and has money than someone who is attractive with no money. So just go for the one that has the money. So
I agree with him. I think that you can have your cake and eat it too. And the beautiful thing with the apps is that those 8 billion people, it gives you a really quick way to see a very large dating pool very quickly. And, you know, the last thing you should be doing is judging yourself for swiping. I mean, all you have really is their looks and then a little blurb. And you can't know that person from a little blurb, even if they're very well spoken and use the maximum number of characters. The only way you really get to know somebody is by being at the date with them. So the apps are all for using looks to judge to start. And, you know, we talked about this in a recent week. I mean, as sexual beings, looks are important. Now, at the end of the day, you might swipe on somebody where you're like on the fence and you're like, well, I'm not going to message them first. If they message me, we'll see where it goes. Let's say you end up on a date with that person and then they blow you away. And then all of a sudden that attractiveness, you know, the skin deep level doesn't matter as much because it was maybe the best date you've been on in years. But I think initially there's nothing wrong with swiping just on looks. And that is what the apps allow you to do. Now, if you were, let's say you were out at, you know, a restaurant or bars, some social setting, an event, and if someone's hitting on you and you don't give them the time of day, or maybe not hitting on you, but if somebody's being kind and trying to engage you in conversation and you just give them the once over and immediately brush them off, that would be rude. That would be something you should do a character check on. you know, because there's somebody that's engaging you in real life, in the wild. Give them a shot, you know, like be nice, engage a little bit. You don't have
But
to
if
like
there's
entertain them
no
fully.
attraction, though, I mean, I'm not saying you would brush them off, but that's the other question is, you know, the profile doesn't give a lot, but I know there's a few things that are really important to me that are part of my criteria. And it's not that I think I'm better than anyone because of the education. I just want someone who's had some shared experience. Plus, you know, I had a husband who was so disparate that that was one of the reasons why he was insecure and held my education against me. So I know that having someone who has similar educational experience, not judging anybody who doesn't, just for me, that that is important. And that successful accomplishments, that's just how you know, I like that. It's a turn on. That's part of my turn me on factor. If you have a resume with a lot of, you know, crack stuff on there, I'm going to be attracted to you. So when they don't say what they do, right? And I ask, and then they say something like that isn't a match, how do I get out of that? Because when I do ask for what, so what do you do? I say, I'm sorry if the question sounds superficial, but I've learned the hard way what happens when I don't ask, right? So then they'll tell me that they are, I'll say, a delivery truck driver that my husband was, right? And it didn't work for, I mean, he didn't like to work to start with, but let's just say I've had that experience. I know that's not going to work. How do I back out of that?
I mean, at that point, I'll be back out of it. You've already agreed to the date?
No, we're just talking. And when someone comes at me with, you're so sexy, I unmatch. To me, that's just like, you know, not.
They're coming on too strong. To last week's topic, they're chasing too hard. I get that.
Okay.
I mean, I think you could. There's nothing wrong with simply saying, "Hey, I don't think we're a match. You know, I know what I'm looking for, and you know, I think you got a lot of great things to offer. I just don't think we're a good fit. Thanks for your time."
Okay.
You know, I don't think there's anything wrong or rude with that. And I think of course, it's fine to have non-negotiables. I mean, attractiveness is important. It shouldn't be the only thing, but there are things that I think can be non-negotiables based on our life experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to be open-minded, but I think it's fine to have a set of non-negotiables as long as the list isn't as long as like Santa's gift making list, right? Before Christmas, right? You can have a few things on there, but maybe not 20 things that are non-negotiables.
What are your non-negotiables? And I'll tell you mine.
It has to a sense of entitlement. Anybody who thinks they're owed anything, I mean, besides just the basic level of respect that we all should treat each other with, that's a no-go. Somebody, this kind of
like
goes to
example.
entitlement. What's that?
Example.
Oh, somebody who believes that they shouldn't have to pay any taxes and that, you know, they should apply for every government program. And that goes in line with another one. Anybody that's lazy, you don't have to be a type A person, but you have to have something that excites you and inspires you and that you work hard at, because that to me is not just about laziness. I want somebody that is capable of inspiration, because that is an energy that I want around. Somebody that can't communicate is they have to be able to communicate their feelings. They can't bottle them up. They can't only know how to get them out passive aggressively. Those are a few non-negotiables for me. Those are my top three. If they don't, anything else I can probably work with, but if they have any of those three, it's probably a no-go.
Okay.
I'll tell you a really painful unattainability thing for me. And I've had friends opine on why this is, and I don't know, but it's a little bit, it's a sensitive thing. I am always, if I'm out at a restaurant or bar or the gym or wherever I might be, I'm fearless. So I'll hit on anybody, anytime, anywhere. I always end up hitting on these hot guys that I hope are gay, and of course they're straight. And I'm like, well, there you go. And a lot of guys that would be available to me, i.e., gay guys, for whatever reason, I don't feel the spark. I'm not attracted to them. I think I have good taste because a lot of these straight guys that I end up being attracted to, they end up becoming really good friends. I got this whole collection of hot straight friends. So, ladies, if you're looking for some dates, I got a nice pool
What
here
are you
of
saying
guys I
now?
thought were that are
Hello.
sensitive, that I thought maybe could have been gay, so they're like emotionally
Hello.
in touch.
What do
We'll
I
talk.
gotta
Hey,
do?
you know,
I'm
when we do
your
our postpartum.
co-host. I'm
Yeah, well,
your
when we do our
co-host and you
postpartum,
haven't
I'll
offered.
give you some numbers.
And it
But-
took you this long to offer? That's why I'm getting pissed off here.
But
You
here's the
always
other
do.
thing too. You probably think that they're children because I've been told that I'm pushing 40, but I got a really youthful kind of energy, and I don't hang around with most people my age because I find them to be kind of jaded, cynical. Now, granted, a lot of the things that I would like in a partner come with age, but then it also comes with this baggage of cynicism, jadedness, that spark for life that's missing. So, you know, some of the things that I'm looking for in a package, I think, is maybe unattainable. And I wish I was not attracted to straight acting guys. But then again, I'm kind of a straight presenting gay man. So I just think it comes down to that. I don't think it's me having some psychological issue to convert. You know, there's some gay guys that get off on converting straights to have a sexual experience. That's
Okay.
not something that appeals to me whatsoever. It just so
No.
happens that when I'm looking at the talent pool, right, at a crowded bar or restaurant, I always end up walking up to the ones that end up being straight, and it's exhausting. But I like what I like, so what am I going to do about it? I
Yeah.
need advice on that.
And well, I'll give you the same reaction as you gave to me. Don't judge yourself on that. Just, you know, one of these times it's going to work out. So now going back to my red flags or my non-negotiables, the one is anyone who is so fundamental in their belief systems that they love debating, they love arguing, they love it. The most important thing is that they are right, totally out. Ones that, like you, are not achievement oriented, right?
Mhm.
And then ones that are negative and cynical and jaded. And I have that same thing. I think that I'm grateful that I think that I look younger than my actual bio age, and I certainly don't act my bio age. And therefore, I'm attracted more to the younger age. But like I said, no part of being a cougar is attractive to me. So I used to say, well, it's impossible or very, very difficult to meet an older man that I'm attracted to. I'm not saying that anymore. There
Good
is,
for you.
I'm not, I'm not going in with any kind of preconceived, these are the rules, this has been my experience. I'm going in saying, I know what I like, right? And, it's not a whole big long list, but I do know, that similar experiences, education wise, travel wise, life experience wise, I want joie de vie. I want, somebody who wants to juice their life like I do, and that every day counts and is more positive. I don't want that opposites attract thing. I was exhausted when I picked a man who, what my dad would say, he walks around with a cloud over his head. I don't want that at all. So when people start, oh, and then she was bad, talking about their exes and how life sucks, I'm like, see ya.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. But I think it's important to be open-minded through having some non-negotiables and knowing what you like, because that way you move from a place of too much expectation into a place of possibility of experiencing everything. As they say in Texas, be where your butt is. So when you're on that date, be present, be open-minded, experience everything. And I think a nice wrap-up thought here is everybody's attainable if you got the courage to go after what you want and be intentional in creating your life. And if they say no, don't treat it like a rejection or a failure. Treat it as, hey, at least I'm in the game, baby.
Absolutely. I agree with you. My final word, that was your final word. My final word is there's nothing wrong with people, yourself included. It's just not a match. They're not to blame. They didn't do anything wrong. It's just not a match. And thank you for tuning in. I do have 2 tickets to Engelbert Humperdinck at the Savant Theater, one of my longtime sponsors. If you'd like that pair of tickets, go to drmarissa.life. Find the